Can you hear me? Very, very excited today to be introducing Neil to you guys, our fourth guest speaker for this round. And let me just bring that up. So Neil is a course creation veteran, and he has sold over $1 million in courses in the last 7 days. His first course was a complete accident. He had been building made for AdSense sites back in the day. And with a cool twist, he discovered a system that was making 4 times per click than most people were doing back then. He turned his hack into a course, and within 4 days, collected over $14,000 in sales. And here's the best part: the actual money he made using the process was less than $2,000. So selling courses can be more profitable than implementing them themselves. Welcome, 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 Neil. It's my pleasure to have you here today.
Thanks. And just a quick correction early on. It was over $1 million in 7 years, not 7 days, but 7 days would be awesome. So,
oh, sorry. Did I say something?
Okay. Slip of tongue. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, tell us about this story.
So it's quite funny because some of the best courses that one can create are courses that are born out of experience, even if it's like basic. Even if you think it's basic thing, just teaching other people that is enough, and people pay for it. It's surprising. So back in 2012, I was doing these made for AdSense websites because I was working as a writer for other companies. So I thought, okay, why don't I try and build my own business, and I'll make my own websites. And what happened with me was that I discovered that just putting up AdSense ads on your blog will give you like a few cents a day from 1,000 visitors. It depends really. But Google had this other thing called Google AdSense for search, which is quite more specific. But what you can do is you can embed that in your website, or you could back in 2012. So I embedded it just as a test to see what happened. So whenever someone would come into my website, I would sort of push them to use my search, browser to kind of search for whatever they're looking for. And when the ads show up inside that search browser, you actually get paid more, because Google pays more for those ads, for those clicks, rather than what they pay for the ads that show up on your website regularly alongside your content. So I was like, wow, this is pretty good, because suddenly I went from making a few cents per site a day to making $1 or $2 a day. And I was like, hey, this is pretty good for someone who's getting 30,000 hits a day. This is something they need to know. And I hadn't even made a lot of money. Like, I'd been trying it out for 3 months, just doing different things, seeing if I could optimize it. And I said, you know what? I think I'm happy enough with it. I'm just going to put out a course and see how it goes. Back then, there used to be this site called Warrior Forum. And I just heard about it because I got a few emails about some products listed there. I went there, figured out how to post a sales page, and I created one overnight. I mean, it was just a very simple, frank sales page. Like, listen, this is the method. Like, I can't tell you what the method is. I'm not sure how long it's going to be alive, but these are my earning reports from before and after, and I'll let you decide. And it was just a $17 report. It was like a PDF. And that itself, and the upsell was like a video course. So for me, actually showing them how to install it on the website while recording it. And it just went like wildfire. I didn't expect much because I didn't have any affiliates at that time, but a few people noticed my course and they were like, you know what, we bought this, is actually really good. Approve me and I can recommend it to my customers. And I'm like, sure, go for it. So this one person brings in like 75 sales. I'm like, wow, this guy's amazing. And then someone else joins in like on the day 3 and he brings in 200 sales. I'm like, what's happening? So it was just completely mind blowing. And I came out of it with about $5,000 in profits. And, back then that was the most money I had made in a month because back before that I had a job where I had some small side paying gigs. And I was telling all my friends like, hey, listen, I just, I was refreshing my PayPal account and seeing like money coming in. And it was amazing. And I mean, now it's become like so much more common. I don't even refresh the account anymore. But back then, being able to go from 0 to like 5,000 in 4 days in net profit was a really big deal.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of digital products. You create it, you have it once, and then you just keep selling it. You keep on selling it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the That's the one thing that I've done over the years as well, which has really helped, is even if I have assets that are older, even if I don't sell them anymore, I offer them as a bonus, as an add-on. So I'll tell them like, hey, listen, I created this a while ago. It's not even available anymore to buy. I don't sell it, but I'll give it to you as a bonus if you get this other thing. So that adds a lot more value to what I'm doing as well.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. And how does it come together that you sold $1 million in courses over the last 7 years?
So over time, I have built, a list of customers who have been buying my products. And quite often what we do is when we do get a sale, we would do a post-sale survey asking them, okay, if I could wave a magic wand, what else could I help you with? And they tell me their problems, and then they pay me to solve those problems. Because, after they pay me, like a week later or something, I'll reach out to them and I'll say, hey, listen, I'm creating this course. Would you be interested to get an early seat? Or sometimes they've even done like a recurring membership, usually low ticket, to build a high volume membership. And that's really helped as well. So I think once you build your audience, it all comes down to solving their problem. So a lot of people have this idea that they have this great thing in their mind and they should turn that into a course and they should create that. It's okay. But in my opinion, it's even better if you just ask your paying customers, what do you want to learn? And they'll tell you, and then you go back and sell it to them.
Yeah. Yeah. That is definitely the way which I suggest people, of course, also to do it all the time. We talked about it today, about putting out surveys, asking your customers exactly what they're struggling with and match it with what you know, what they need and what they want to know. If you put those two components together, then you got to have a really good product.
Absolutely.
Do you guys have any questions? Sure, Ed has a question.
Yeah, so what is your best-selling product right now?
So what we have done, Ed, over time is we have collected a lot of our trainings from the last 5 or 6 years, like, the more current stuff, I guess. We've removed the stuff that isn't relevant anymore, and we packaged that into one big membership. And it sells for like $297 one time, or we say you can buy it for $147 a year. Most people tend to go for the one-time option because it just seems more reasonable, especially once they realize how long we've been selling it. And one way that we sell it, that we put it as an upsell, like a final upsell in all our funnels. So we have quite a few entry point products. And anytime we have a new entry point product, this becomes a de facto final upsell. So everyone gets to see it. And the uptake isn't as high because typically we sell software as a main offer. So software to course transition can be a little bit harder. But then people do buy it, and if there's nothing going on, like if I don't have anything specific to mail to my list, I'll just send them this email like, hey, listen, if you want to get in, this is the course. You may or may not have heard about it. Maybe I'll put in like a limited time bonus, and that just works really well. So it just consistently brings in revenue.
And how do you build the list now? Like I think you still try to expand the list. Do you do some launch from time to time? Like
we do launch quite often, actually. So we tend to do more software launches than info product launches, just because my current affiliate base is more suited to software products. But then I love teaching. I love to work with people. And for that, I try and upsell them all this stuff, by myself in the back. And then, like I said, like Tina said as well, the good thing is this course now exists. It's existed for like 2 years in its entirety. I haven't had to touch it. I haven't had to do anything to it. So any money that comes in is now just a bonus.
It's like evergreen, right?
Yeah, it's evergreen. Yeah.
That's the ultimate goal anyway, unless you have like a course on like marketing or something like that where things change constantly and you maybe need to update things.
Every quarter.
Hopefully you update your things then, because you do want to stay on top of your game and you do want to keep make your students happy every quarter. Yeah. Do you have a course on social media marketing or something?
I ask me or Ed?
Ed, because he says every quarter.
I mean, I have a Digital Startup Academy, so I launched this year just when COVID started. So we had first about how to keep your cash safe when the crisis started, and then we have a Digital Startup Academy, and now we will have second edition end of September, basically for people in Southeast Asia and Japan, like Japan, Singapore, Malaysia, Melbourne, Australia, this part of the world, because I'm based in Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And now actually you are also on the radar because you are in Vietnam right now.
Yeah. Neil, I would like to ask you if you could maybe share, we talked about this before, about the very first story about when you bought templates on Graphic River, if you want to share a little bit about that.
Yeah, just an idea for people. I mean, so I find, so I'll give some context here why this is a good method. I find a lot of people sort of undersell their expertise early on because they feel like, hey, you know, I want to teach people, let's say, motivation coaching, but I can never be Tony Robbins. So should I even bother, right? So they always have this thing like, should I even bother creating something because I'm not the best? So to begin with, just to set the base, say you don't have to be the best. And there's an interesting parable. There's two friends walking through the forest and they spot a bear, a grizzly bear, and they both start running. And one friend goes to the other, can you run, like, why are we running? Can you run faster than the bear? He goes, no, but I can run faster than you. And probably not good friends, but the point here is that when it comes to sales and marketing, you don't need to be the best, but you do need to know more than the person that you're selling to. So back in 2013, actually, so after I had done this one product, I took a bit of a break because, hey, I just made $5,000 and I thought I could take a break. I came up with the next one, but I was kind of stuck for ideas because I had wasted like 3 months doing nothing and I didn't engage with my audience very well. I didn't, keep in touch with the list. It was a bad thing. But I realized that at that time, social media was kind of heating up. People were selling services for social media, but they weren't able to articulate what to sell and how to price it. And I had been working as a copywriter at that time. So I thought, hey, why don't I create sort of a webinar presentation for people to use, which they could pre-record as well and sell like a bunch of services. But there were some other challenges to it. For example, I'm not a designer. I hate design. So I didn't want to create a presentation that looked ugly, but at the same time, I didn't want to pay someone $1,000 or more to create a presentation for me, even especially when the content wasn't yet ready. And there's a lot of back and forth. So what I did was I went to a site called Graphic River, and that website has a lot of designs and presentations you can buy and use for yourself typically. But if you pay a little bit extra, you can resell that as well with changes, not resell as is, but with the changes applied. So I found one which I thought was a pretty good presentation. I contacted the creator and I said, hey, listen, I've got a few students that sell social media services. I want to take a presentation and I want to add my own content to it and sell it to them. If I paid for the extended license, which was about $250, is that okay? And that person said, sure, that's fine, go for it. So I paid $250. I took the presentation, made edits to it. I didn't pay any designer after that. I didn't have to because the presentation was really good. But I took my content, which, it's not quite a course, but it's a done for you thing. Because once you do courses, the next thing people want is like, hey, can you do this for me? Because I'm a little bit lazy or I'm too occupied. Can you do this for me? So that's what I did. I gave people a done for you presentation. And the funny thing is, and I'll admit this right now, I hadn't sold any social media services before then. I knew how to sell it. I was a copywriter, but I hadn't sold it by myself. I gave it to a beta user to just, get some results, some testimonials. Within a week, he had gone out and sold $10,000 worth just by using this. And 2 years later, he told me he had sold $400,000 worth on the back of this presentation. I'm like, crap, that's a lot of money. But the thing is that just having that presentation, I launched it. Again, a similar model. I had a basic version of the presentation with 70 slides and an upgrade with premium templates and such. And in about another 5 days or so our launches are typically 4 to 7 days. In 5 days, we did $22,000 in sales, in revenue. And at that time, I walked away with $8,000 in net profit. So to me, it's, when you're doing courses, it's a lot of it is about solving problems, but simply advising people, simply giving them course sometimes is not enough. If you can go a step further and do done for you for them, they'll pay through the teeth for something like that. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's an awesome add-on to your value ladder later then, if people can afford your done for you service, right?
Yeah. So for example, if you're doing social media, course, like how to get traffic from Facebook fan pages. If you can give them some done for you posts as an extra, as an add-on, that makes for a really good next step in the value ladder.
Yeah, that's actually what I have. I have like a 7-pillar content system where people can just like every day have like prompts and can put in their own voice to different templates. So they don't need to think about every day, like what I'm going to post. it does help a lot of people, yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Keeps you consistent in your social media strategy, yeah.
Which is the hardest thing to do, so yeah.
For sure, yeah. But lucky us, we have scheduling tools and all of that, so we maybe sit down once a month, hopefully, and schedule it all in advance. Dee, do you have any questions? Oh, Juliet, Vivian is here too. Nice. Didn't see that. Nice to have you guys here. Anyone else has questions?
I have a question for Neil. So Neil, when you have a information product, like basically when you are selling your knowledge, your expertise, what platform do you usually use for course, if it's not already recorded, if it's a new course?
Do you mean what platform I use to deliver it? Or?
Yeah, it's like deliver by, you have your master, you have your website, and then you have the members.
Yeah.
In a backend, or you are using just Vimeo or Zoom?
I prefer to use a members area. So we have our own sort of webinar solution as well that we sell, and we have our own funnel builder. We have our own membership site builder. So it's like a whole ecosystem. And I try and use the tools that we sell, because that way we are our best users and the best critics. So yeah, typically the process is people buy, they automatically get logins to a membership site. In some cases, I create the course live. In some cases, pre-recorded. So the first iteration, I always try and do it live, just because it helps me kind of think on the spot and come up with new ways to add things to the course. And also it's a test run, like you don't know how it's going to go. So I don't want to spend 10 hours pre-recording something and turns out I only get 2 sales. So it's just better to sort of do it live and then put those recordings in a members area. That's the best way to go.
Yeah, thanks.
No worries.
Awesome. Anyone else? The tech piece has always intimidated me, Dee. Yeah. It's not that difficult anymore nowadays. So it depends also, I would say it depends on like how many different tools you already purchased before, like what sort of, like, do you already have an email service provider? Do you already have like a payment system or not? If you start from scratch, there's systems like who offer everything on go. Like it depends on how much money you already have spent. So you don't want to necessarily throw money out of the window in buying things which you maybe not need. I did that. So.
We all have done that at some point. So it's a rite of passage.
All right. I don't think there's any further questions. Nia, what would you say to someone who's still not sure about, should they create an online course, should they not create an online course, someone who's still on the fence?
I mean, I'll go back to the bear example, because that's the simplest thing you need to know, is that as long as you know a little bit more than someone else, you can actually sell. In fact, I'll give a very quick story as well. My cousin, he can speak now 12 languages. And he can speak and teach 12 languages, right? And the funny thing is that once a student came to him, a prospective student came to him and said, hey, listen, I want to learn Mandarin. Can you teach me Mandarin? He said, I'm busy this week. Come back to me next Monday. So what he did was, on the weekend, he went to the Chinese embassy. He enrolled with them in a Mandarin course and did a couple of lessons. And then on Monday, when the prospect student came back, he said, okay, sit down. I'll teach you 2 lessons. If you like it, stay with me. If you don't, that's okay. So he basically just regurgitated what he had learned to that student. And this is how he was just staying one step ahead of the student, but still able to confidently teach him Mandarin, even though he didn't speak a lick of Mandarin before that. So that's the point as well, that a lot of what we do in business and life is iterative. You can't be a professor in everything and then you want to teach kindergarten kids. That's not how it works. You just have to be one step ahead of them. That's the first thing. The second thing is that it's, if you feel that you genuinely want to help someone with your knowledge, I would say it's your responsibility to then do that. Because if you don't, not only are you stopping yourself from being successful, making money, but you're also stopping them from getting value. I mean, think of it this way, right? There are a lot of sharks out there. There's a lot of people that don't know what they're doing, but they still teach wrong things. They teach bad things. And if you don't help someone, they're going to go to one of these sharks. And you may not realize it, but it's going to weigh on you after a while that someone got scammed by someone else. And if you had helped them in time, they would have had better results. So just that it's your moral obligation as well to be there for people if you feel that what you have is genuinely good.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Neil.
No problem. Happy to be here.
Thank you for coming, taking the time. I know you're a busy man. Thank you, everyone else, to come on and, you know, show up a second time today for us. So I appreciate everyone coming on. And yeah, thank you again. I hope you guys got a lot out of this session today. And I will see you back tomorrow, same time. Thank you so much.
Neil, where are you located, Neil?
I'm in Finland.
Finland, okay.
Yeah, quite similar weather, I guess, to Japan mostly, or yeah, somewhat.
Depends, because Japan is so next week I will go to Hokkaido. I think that's kind of similar like Finland. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Where are you in Japan exactly?
In Tokyo.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, it's on the south.
Yeah, further south, yeah.